Hi everybody, Steve here. I'm going to make another one of these videos where I zoom in on a new painting before I send it off to the lucky collector. This painting is sold, and this is what it looks like when it's done. I took the clear tape off of the edges. That's watercolor washout tape, and then I will cut the paper along the edge with a ruler, obviously, and then I'll pull all the staples out. But there's the whole painting. Now I'm going to zoom in. Let's see. Let's zoom in left to right. This will give you an idea of, kind of how things look when you get close. I'm going to bring my hand in here with a pencil just to give you a sense of scale. So this is pretty tight painting here. If you get close enough, you can see brush strokes. You can see that it really is just a painting. A lot of little branches. I already did a video about painting the branches. I could have painted more branches, but I think enough was enough. One of the things I really wanted to get was that feeling of the road going off into the background, and the little bit of the orange glow in the tree branches in the background, because the sun has just gone down and there's an orange glow, I actually painted some of the branches. I kind of outlined them with a pinkish orange color. Again, let me put my hand here to give you a sense of the scale. There's just a pencil. There's the tiny bit of a car poking through with the shiny metal reflecting, one of my favorite parts. I love the little happy accidents that I find in just ordinary scenes. And I think this was also really a great part of the painting. The snow that had melted a little bit and left this kind of wet mixture of water and snow and mud. I really enjoyed this. It was really tricky. I took forever. But here's the wet pavement. You can see the mark, and then it gets a little bit lighter and it's actually cooler. It's reflecting that cool blue sky. This is the only bit that's actually reflecting the sky above, and then everything else is reflecting. It's close enough to the curb here that it's just picking up the curb, except for these reflections up here. Spent a long time on this sidewalk, just crazy amount of time. And when I zoom in close, you can see the little marks that create the shading. Those are done with a dry brush technique. It's not all just a bunch of washes. And in here you can see the bricks up close. And you can see there are marks, but this is painted brick, which means the lines that you would normally see in unpainted brick are much less pronounced, but they're still there a bit, so that was tricky. So I wiped out the highlights just a bit here and there and used a napkin and dabbed it. And this is mostly an ultramarine blue, which isn't super permanent, which means it's hard to do extra layers without lifting off the previous layer. But when you do want to lift off a layer, it's not hard to do. Let's go down to the lower left corner here. I'm using my iPhone, and just a little photographic tip. An iPhone, I'm sure all smartphone cameras have a wide-angle lens, so it does tend to distort things when you get really close, but this is just a informational little video. But if you're ever taking pictures of people and you use an iPhone or smartphone and you get in really close, you're going to make their nose look too big. It distorts. It's great for getting things into the picture when you're inside a room. And if I get too close to this, I'm not sure, it may distort a bit, but like I said, this is just an informational video. Million little layers here, million little brush strokes. Again, you're going to see, I'll put a pencil in here to give you a sense of scale. I already showed me painting this, and I did do more work since that previous video. There's a little chain I had to paint. I almost forgot that. I had actually photographed this painting, and I thought I was done, and then when I zoomed into the photograph, I realized, oh no, I didn't ever paint that chain. This sign here is a plastic sign, and it has a reflective surface, but it's not super reflective. You know, it's not like a piece of chrome or a piece of glass, but it is reflective. So it's lighter than the bricks around it. And I actually accentuated that a bit, more so than the photograph, because I really wanted to highlight the idea that it was a reflective plastic, yet old sign. The awning was a real challenge, just because I had to paint all those lines really close together without them smearing. When I zoom in close, you can see, like, under the awnings, this is where I use that dry brush technique with a lot of little brush strokes. And it's those very carefully observed and then carefully painted tonal differealisms. It's one of the biggest things that creates a very, very heightened sense of realism. It's that going from dark and then just gradually fading. I could not have done that with a wash, because I would have just, it would have been too smeary. So I did the initial layers with broader washes with a like a number 4 round brush, but then I went in with a tiny little bunch of dots, basically little dots or little tiny brush strokes. Also, these trees, I used that technique where I used a gouache mixture so that they would be very dark and very matte. They would have a matte finish. They wouldn't be reflective. I actually wiped them out completely and repainted them because they were starting to get shiny. And I took photos of that process, which will be in the book. This process, the painting process for this painting, will be in this book I'm going to be a part of. Don't ask me about it because it's not done yet. I haven't even finished writing my chapter. But it will be something that I do promote when it is available, which should be at the end of 2019. And I'm making this video at the end of April 2019. So there's a lot of work yet to be done before the book is final. But I'll promote it, and I'll be glad to sell it. And I'll be glad to sell it largely because I'm not the only person in the book. If it was just me, I'd be hesitant, because I really don't feel like my techniques are what everybody would want to learn. You would be wise to just take the little things that I do that you want to do and use them, and ignore what I do that you don't want to do. Just ignore it. Let me show you this. This road has the impression of a lot of texture, which partially comes from the multiple layers of watercolor, which are a little bit, you know, kind of textured looking already. And then I went in with a lot of little strokes. And you can see there's the cracks. Obviously, I painted those with just a regular brush. And then these little strokes are going in the direction of the pavement, for the most part, which gives the impression of a flat road. And then there's little oil stains, which obviously are laying flat. One of my favorite little things over here is the little sewer cover, which is shiny metal, so it's reflecting. Those little details, even if you don't get them perfect, if you get the gist of them, you know, the fact that it's noticeably lighter than the things around it, just like the pole, this shiny metal pole. If you get up really close, it's not perfect. It's pretty close to being perfect, but you can see with the pencil there, to give a sense of scale, it's really tiny little work, so it's never going to be perfect when it's that tiny. But when you back up, it really gives the impression of a shiny metal pole. And I think that's enough for now. Thanks for watching. I'm sitting on a moving chair. That's my technique for zooming out. So if you hear the chair rolling, that's just an old office chair. There it is. Okay, till next time. Thanks again for watching. I hope this was helpful.